The last type of random sampling we're going to discuss is cluster sampling. Now, cluster sampling seems quite similar to stratified sampling, but it's a little different. Okay? Just like with stratified sampling, we divide our population into groups. In this case, we call them clusters. So we divide the population into groups called clusters. And I say that we divide it, but really in real life, most of the time these groups are divided. We get these clusters naturally, okay? And we work with these clusters for convenience, okay? Now, once we have our clusters, we want to randomly sample a few of the clusters and sample everyone from those clusters. Okay, every member from those clusters. So randomly select a few clusters and randomly sample everyone or every member from those clusters. Okay. Now, this is a little different than stratified sampling. Stratified sampling, we also had groups. We called them strata. But in stratified sampling, we sample a few members from every group. With cluster sampling, we sample every member from a few groups. Okay, do you kind of see the difference? So let's draw a picture. Okay. Say we have a few groups here. Okay, so these black circles are going to be our groups. I don't want them to overlap. Okay, good enough. And maybe I'll just take out the last one. Okay, in each group, there are members of our population. Okay, there are some members here. There are some members here in this cluster. There are some members in this cluster. There are some members in this cluster. There are some members in this cluster. Okay. Often these clusters are divided by time or space so that it's easier. So maybe all these people are in California and all these people are in Washington, D.C. If we split them up, then it'd be hard to interview just a few people here and just a few people here. So you have to interview them in person. You'd have to be in California for these interviews and Washington, D.C. for these ones over here. Okay, so that could be kind of difficult. So often we use cluster sampling to simplify things when the different clusters or groups are segmented in time or space or both. Okay, so what do? Once we have our clusters, we randomly select a few clusters. Say in this case we select 2. Okay, so I'm going to randomly choose say this cluster here and this cluster over here. Okay, and we then sample every member in those clusters. So this one, 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 and that cluster gets sampled. Everyone in that cluster gets sampled. And this one, 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 this one gets sampled. Every member in that cluster gets sampled. And no member in the other clusters gets sampled at all. Okay? That is cluster sampling. So let's take a look at an example. Let's look at this a bit more carefully. Let's get a picture here. So say we have our group of students, kind of the same group of students we've been dealing with in the last few examples. Okay? But this time, they're sitting at individual tables. Okay? The tables we could view as clusters. instead of going about the whole room and selecting students randomly, it might be easier to take everyone from a table and then everyone at another table, right? That's cluster sampling. So what we're going to do is we are going to use cluster sampling to randomly sample six students. Okay? In this case, that would mean we need to sample 2 clusters. So the idea here is that the thing we're really picking isn't the students, it's the clusters. And then the members that are in those clusters are the ones we sample. Okay? But the thing that we're really focused on at first are the clusters. Okay? So we are going to, so we need to randomly choose 2 clusters. Now in this case, there are 10 tables. Tables are our clusters. So we need to choose 2 of the 10 tables. So let's pull out our calculator. Okay. Let's blow that up just a little more. We'll use our sample function. We want to, any table from 1 to 10 should be in our group. Okay. And we want to choose 2 of those tables. So notice this sample function is choosing the tables, not the students directly. We click the evaluate button. Make it a little smaller so you could actually see. There we go. And the tables that were chosen are tables 3 and table 5. So this table and this table. Okay, so those are the tables we've sampled, and so the 6 students we have in our sample are Hubler, Fontecha, Legany, Lundquist, Cunningham, and Anselmo. They are the students that are in our clusters. They are the students that we have sampled.